danger, it doesn't panic. It effortlessly withdraws all its limbs back to itself. It goes into itself. Goes back into itself. Goes back into its own shell, you may call. Well, that shell is a part of it. Tortoise and the shell of the tortoise are not separate things. That's how. It's a very protective sheath. It's a protective cover. Therefore, it is wisdom. Whenever you apprehend danger, really, that you can always minimize danger by switching attention to yourself rather than panicking or running here and there. Silencing yourself is the safest. Because whenever there is a problem, we react. That reaction, where does the reaction take us, we don't know. Because the consequences of reaction are uncertain. But the consequences of self-control, silencing one's attention, are certain. When I protect myself from reaction, then I know the result is certain, that I avoid a crisis. Avoiding a reaction is avoiding a crisis. See, taking a certain action, taking certain steps to handle a problem can't be called reaction. That is action. Let us be very clear about our terminology. When you know that this is the problem, and here is my brother, and he wants to take away everything that belongs to me also, therefore I don't have to fight with him, do whatever is to be done. That, peacefully doing, without panicking, doing what is to be done to tackle a problem can't be called reaction. It is not pratikriya, but it is kriya. It's an action. In order to survive, we need to do actions. You can't really interpret everything as a reaction. Don't interpret every action as a reaction, please. Then you will get into trouble. Reactions are different from wise actions. Reactions are different from wise actions. In reactions, there is no wisdom. In wise action, there is no folly. There is no reaction. There is no folly in that. There is only wisdom. And in order to survive in life, we have to perform certain wise actions. But what makes us unhappy in life, is the reaction, series of reactions. Reactions really build up tension. Reactions build up depressions. Reactions build up guilt. Reactions really make us unhappy. Even though you have everything in life, but I can't relax amid prosperity. You see, in fact, the best way of enjoying prosperity is not just all the time eating. Just just relaxation. I've got money, I've got house, let me relax, not to worry. But that relaxation which the prosperity is supposed to give, and that relaxation which the prosperity does give, I spoil it through the problems that I build up in my mind through reactions. Reactions spoil relaxation. Prosperity gives relaxation. Prosperity is supposed to give me relaxation, and it does give me, but I don't enjoy it, I don't receive it. I fritter it away. It gets wasted because I am not available for that relaxation because my mind is full of reactions. And reactions means, do you know what is reaction? Only time I am thinking of somebody and fuming. I am thinking of somebody and getting depressed. Oh, he doesn't come up to my expectation. My daughter doesn't come up to my expectation. My husband doesn't come to my expectation. My children don't come home. My parents-in-law don't bother. All the time I think of a person and get disturbed. You can't think of an object and get disturbed. Think of the furniture in your house and get disturbed. Just please remember the furniture. Please think of the furniture and get disturbed here. And think of Ramu. You will get this. My God, pata nahi kya karta hoga. Maybe he is having second time breakfast. And the moment you think he is having second time breakfast, my God, you will only wake up to the class after we have finished 2 verses. This is the problem. We think of people and then inwardly, silently fuming, silently angry, silently perturbed, silently disturbed. The moment you remember a person, you are not yourself. I am telling you. You are not yourself. Suddenly you lose Shanti. Even when you remember children whom you love so much, you get disturbed. First you say, oh, they are so nice, and afterwards, pata nahi kya hoga mera bachon ko. Immediately. Hey, why? This is what is called. We always feel one becomes senile after 80 plus or 90 plus. But I think right from the birth onwards, man becomes senile. Yes, he's senile. Hey, why are you getting depressed over coming up children? They are so small, their life is yet to begin. Why are you? It's apashakunam to get depressed. Even to feel insecure about the children, it is apashakunam. You understand apashakunam? It is ashubha shakunam. It is inauspicious. Let them enjoy, feel happy. Therefore, what makes us unhappy what make us unhappy are not the wise actions. What make us unhappy are the reactions without which we are much better off. We are much happier without those reactions. Reactions spoil the relationships. You see, you react to somebody says something, and everybody has got, everybody's intelligence is not the same. I am telling you, supposing when you marry somebody, don't think compatibility means exact level of intelligence. Pata nahi, you don't know really the other person. Because looking at only the height and the weight and the way he dresses, vagera, and then you marry a person. Otherwise, how you think? How do you know that उनके अंदर दोरा नहीं पड़ता है? How do you know? I mean, he may be having epileptic strokes in his mind. Yes. Who knows? Suddenly he becomes somebody else. And therefore, what is the best thing is, once I strike a relation with somebody, then I have to accept, well, I should be mentally prepared to take a lot of things without reaction. That doesn't in any way bar you from sitting with the person and talking to him, which is called a wise action. But in reaction, what happens? We hurt one another. Reaction always hurts. Reaction doesn't solve any problem. Somebody says something and you hit back, that only hurts. He hurts you, you hurt back. That is the only satisfaction. If it is called sad. Reaction hurts, but you can't undo hurts. And even if you put balm on hurts, it still leaves behind scars. And what about those scars? Is there a balm for scars? No. Some people remember, what somebody did some 25 years ago, 30 years ago, this is what you did, and therefore now this is what I want to do. 30 years ago you hurt me, therefore now is the time for me to hurt you. Ye kya hai, chakkar? Why do this? Say, when you marry somebody, you must understand that person has one level of intelligence, I have another level of intelligence. I must really, in order to make it work, in order to live in peace, I have to, in fact, avoid reactions. Though I can sit with a person and communicate and talk. When you sit with a person and quietly talk to a person, that person never minds. Nobody is unreceptive to being talked to. Nobody is unreceptive. Please understand, nobody is unreceptive to being talked to peacefully. But instead of sitting with a person and talking to him peacefully, with voice kept low, aram se baat. That's a wise action, that communication. But if I don't sit with a person and quietly talk to him, and then all the time I only say something in a huff, and leave in a huff. All the time, really, this is what is called series of reactions. This what happens, we hurt one another, and relationship can never be enjoyed. You don't enjoy sitting with a person and really cracking a joke or remembering something. You don't really enjoy companionship. It is just, marriage is some kind of, arrangement for survival. Therefore, Bhagavan says here, reaction. Be wise enough, like Kurma, not to react but to silence. A Kurma doesn't react. Whenever it apprehends danger, it doesn't react. It goes back to itself. And when all the atmosphere is silent, and when the danger is gone, then slowly puts its limbs out and starts going about its job. Is not Kurma wise? Yes, Kurma is wise. A tortoise is wise. And Bhagavan Krishna gives the example of the tortoise for a wise man. Think of it. He says a wise man is like a tortoise. Now if you tell an Angrezi, if you tell a Westerner, according to Indian culture, a wise man is like a tortoise. What will he understand? I mean, a categorical statement without explaining is like a tortoise. And they will also, they will keep in these journalists, the Western journalists keep that, I heard that Indians always think of a wise man like a tortoise. What is this? It's all primitive thinking. You want really wisdom, really you have to go into only this Vedic literature, nowhere else. Now the next is Yadasam harate chayam kurmonganeva sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhya. I am going to deal with this point. Like a tortoise, whenever you are in danger of a temptation, withdraw your attention to yourself. In the last class we saw the biggest danger is when you are likely to be tempted. You are likely to make a mistake. That's a crisis. When you are like, there is an argument on the road, you are likely to take out your gun. Very dangerous. And once you take out your gun in that, fit of anger, you may even shoot the person down. It is only after that you discover, my God, what have I done? Every crisis, if I don't manage that particular second, that particular moment of crisis, if I don't manage it properly, I can get into trouble. That's a turning point in life. There is a moment of crisis. There is a fit of anger. There is a fit of irritation. There is a fit of anger. And that is that moment when I need to go back to myself. And so many sages and saints who came, who were born in this land, they always came up, with some way out. Oh, whenever you are angry, please go and drink a glass of water. Or whenever you are angry, please take God's name 10 times. Or whenever you are angry, just look into a book. Something like that, just to divert your attention. All that we require is diverting man's attention. When I am in a crisis, when there is a moment of crisis, I have to divert my attention. And the best thing that I can divert my attention to myself. Silence. Think of silence. Silence of your being. This is important. Now, the next point is Indriyani Indriyartebhya. Withdrawing the sense organs from the sense objects. A wise man always withdraws the sense organs from the sense objects. Tasya prajna pratishtita, and a person who withdraws his senses from the sense objects, his wisdom is pratishtita, is clearest, is firmest, is well established, etc. Okay. Now we try to read it, literally. That means a wise man is one who withdraws his eyes from the forms. Because sense organs means eyes and ears and taste and touch and smell. Therefore, then what we do? We try to close our eyes and remain quiet. Close our ears and remain quiet. Like many of these, Western meditators. The moment they think of tortoise, they think close your eyes, close your ears, taste, touch, smell. Just, go back into your shop. Hey, how long can you remain with your eyes closed? How long can you block the senses? Senses are meant to give me the knowledge of the sense objects. Sense organs never tempt, nor objects tempt. Please understand. Crisis is not created by the senses. Crisis is not created by the objects. If two brothers are fighting over money, can you say that money has created this crisis? To be truthful, is it money? Does money ever create a crisis? If money creates a crisis, then losing all the money would be freedom from crisis. If money were to create a crisis, then two brothers must fight over not having money. Each brother has to say, I don't want money because it will create a crisis. But they are fighting over having money. That money never creates a crisis. Wrong thinking creates a crisis. Wrong thinking creates a crisis. Confusion creates a crisis. Therefore, I don't have to withdraw my eyes or anything. Neither I have to run away from the world to be free from crisis. Because if objects create a crisis, then I have to keep away. If money creates a crisis, then I have to keep away. If my eyes and ears were to create a crisis, then I have to keep away from them. But when we analyze, we understand neither the objects create crisis nor the senses. Therefore, In fact, senses are faculties. Faculties are meant to be used for living, for survival. I should keep my eyes open, ears open, and my taste open, touch open, smell open. I should have clean faculties. I must cleanly register God's creation, the universe. Registering the universe and having the senses, that's not a problem. What Bhagavan says is, you don't have to withdraw the senses from the objects. All that you have to do is switch your attention in order to be free in life. Switch your attention from the wrong thinking to the right thinking. You switch from the wrong to the right. That's all the withdrawal. Withdrawing from the things is of no use. How long can you withdraw? What can help us is, there is a wrong thinking. Wrong thinking is what? If I have more money, I will be happy. That is wrong thinking. I require money only for survival, and then happiness I have to find it within myself. That is right thinking. Therefore, if I can switch from wrong thinking to right thinking, withdrawal from the wrong to the right is called withdrawal. Not withdrawal from the world is what we need. It's not withdrawal from the world, because nor is it possible anyway. It's not possible. Can you withdraw from the world? How? All right, you withdraw from Delhi, you withdraw from the society and go and live in a mountain cave. You are still in the world anyway. You are in God's creation. 5 elements. Here in Delhi, how many elements are there? 5 elements. When you go to live a mountain cave, how many elements are there? एक आधा कम होता है. If you live in a mountain cave, there is the sun, there is air, there is fire, there is space, air, fire, water, earth. There is hunger. All right, supposing I withdraw from the society and live in a mountain cave, do our needs become less? It is an illusion to think so. Needs can never, the basic needs always remain the same. The basic needs are always the same. Even if you go to the moon, you have to carry food. Don't they carry food? Yes, I am sure they carry food. They place order with all these multinational. They carry food. And it's not that just because you go to a solitude called moon, then there is no hunger, there is no thirst, is there any? And therefore, what we are in need of, we have to understand. We are not in need of withdrawal from God's creation. Nor are we in need of withdrawal from the senses. We are not in need of withdrawing from any detail in the creation. Nor is it being realistic, nor is it possible. What man is capable of and what man is in need of is only one thing. He has to move from the wrong thinking to the right thinking. He has to move from the illiteracy to literacy. He has to move from the wrong thinking to the right thinking. He has to move from the wrong thinking to the right thinking. He has to move from violence to non-violence. He has to move from untruthfulness to truthfulness. He has to move from the conclusion that his happiness has to come from outside to the recognition that his happiness is his nature. He has to register it. Thus, indriyani indriyarthebhyaha does not mean a wise man is one who withdraws his senses from the sense object. Don't translate it. What should be the translation? A wise man is one who withdraws his attention from wrong thinking to right thinking. That's what we are in need of. What is the use of withdrawing from the parents and then everybody, मैं सबको छोड़ के जाके मैं एकांत में बैठूंगा, and then there is another sadhu, then there is a problem. Yes, we don't need a world to wage a world war. We need another individual. Now, if there is another individual and you don't know how to get along, then there is a war. Clear? Now, I am going to say something Shastrik. Shastrik is very. How many Purusharthas are there? Purushartha means, you understand? Purusha means a human being. A conscious being. This is called Puri. Listen. You have to listen. You have to listen. You have to listen. There is something called listening. This body is called Puram. It's called a Puram because it has 9 gates. The ears, the eyes, mouth, etc., etc. If you count all the apertures, the gates in the body, it all comes to 9 gates. So this body is called a 9-gated city. Navadvaram Puram. Bhagavan Krishna says, Navadvare Pure Dehe Naiva Kurvanna Karyan. Bhagavan says, so this body is called a 9-gated city. Why this body is called a city? It's like a mansion. Let us call it as a mansion. And this mansion has 9 gates. Because the one who dwells in the mansion, he can always get out of the mansion and get into the mansion. So the person who is living in the body is not a part of this body. Like the king who lives in a mansion is not a part of the walls of the mansion. He is not a part of the Italian marbles there. He is not a part of concrete. He is a free being. He enters the mansion and he leaves the mansion, enters the mansion. Similarly, we as a conscious being assume the body, leave the body, assume the body, leave the body. Therefore, the body can be called Pura. And what is Purusha? The conscious being living in the Pura is called Purusha. That is why it is called Purusha. This word Purusha has come because this conscious being living in the body, which is like Pura, is called Purusha. Purau Ushati. Puri में रहने वाला. इस पुरी में, नवद्वार पुरी में जो कॉन्शियस बीइंग रहता है, उसका नाम पुरुषः. Does it apply to a woman or not? So Purusha, does it mean man? Purusha means every living being. Man is Purusha, a woman is Purusha, a cow is Purusha, a bull is Purusha, a dog is Purusha, a cat is Purusha, a bird is Purusha. Purusha means a conscious being living in a body which has got certain gates, and that is called Purusha. And every conscious being living in the body has got 4 ambitions. And they are called Purusha Arthas. I want you, because I am making an effort to explain. You have to make an equal amount of effort to receive it. Otherwise, I don't want my words to go waste. Because साधु का कोई वचन वृथा नहीं जाना चाहिए. That's a big loss. Purushartha. Artha means, requirement. Arthyate. Purushena arthyate prarthyate iti purushartha. Meaning, what is the necessity, what is required by every living being. What is required by every living being is called Purushartha. They are, in fact, the Vedic culture says all man's ambitions can come under four. And one is artha, material wealth for survival. That is it. That's what man wants. It is not only his desire, that is his necessity. And making the right, using that money to buy things and for survival is kama. Fulfilling certain biological desires. Fulfilling hunger, thirst, etc. This is all called fulfilling biological urges. Even marrying and then having children, it all comes under kama. And artha, kama, and then dharma. He wants to be mentally peaceful. He wants justice in life. Man is in need of justice. He is in need of food and drink. He is in need of also fulfilling certain biological desires. And he is also in need of justice. Justice means what? It is not that he doesn't want to be a victim of somebody's unfairness. He doesn't want to be a victim of somebody's cruelty. He just wants dharma. Dharma means he wants fairness to pervade, justice to be prevalent. He wants justice to prevail so that he can be peaceful and everybody can be peaceful. Is a desire, is a need. Man is in need of justice. This justice, he wants justice to prevail so that keeps every living being peaceful. That is it a luxury or a need? Is it a basic? Is it really fundamental basic need or just something, a need which we can live without? No, it's a very fundamental need. It's a very basic need. Very fundamental. Basic need means over which I have no choice. Therefore, food is our need, and also meeting certain biological urges is our need, and justice also is our need. This is called artha, kama, dharma. Artha, wealth, kama, fulfilling biological desires, and dharma is dharma. He wants dharma to be there around. He wants other people to be just to him so that he can also be just to others. Therefore, it is our need to be just to one another. It is our need, it is our collective need to be just to one another, fair to one another. And because you have an advantage, you try to be unjust to somebody. And then a time comes, you lose that advantage. And then somebody else has an advantage over you. Then he becomes unjust. Therefore, which is better, being unjust to one another or being just to one another? It's a very important thing in life. When we are unjust to one another, then we become an insecurity to one another. We become a threat to one another. We destroy one another. If we are just to one another, then we protect all of ourselves. We protect one another. We become a security to one another, support to one another. That promotes love, life and peace. Dharma promotes life, promotes existence, promotes peace, and promotes education. Therefore, don't look upon dharma as some old fossilized kind of thing. No. Without dharma, existence is not possible. I don't mind going on talking about dharma even till evening, but I am not going to talk because by 11:30 class has to be over. But I don't mind talking Till evening, for days and days and days I can talk. Because that is what sustains us. Dharma is what sustains us. Now, even though that is true, here Krishna says, hey, the whole life you are thinking only about artha and kama, and very little time you give for dharma and no time for moksha. The fourth need is understanding yourself. The fourth human need is, I want to be free. I want to know what I am. Why am I here? Have I come here? What is this me? What is my identity? What is this me in relation to this world? In relation to life and death, what am I? What happens to me? What was I before I was born? What was I before I was born? And what will I be after I am gone? Is it necessary or not? Is it a need or a luxury? Or is it some kind of some people need it, not everybody. Only Indians are in need of moksha. Is it like that? Is food only the developing countries need? Can we say food is only the need of some people? I say every basic need is a universal need. Are you able to follow? Every basic need is what did I say? Every basic need is a universal need. You didn't hear. You have to hear. Every basic need is a universal. Artha is a universal need. Kama is a universal need. Dharma is a universal need. Moksha is universal need. And come back to the verse. What Krishna means is, hey, you better switch from artha and kama to moksha. This switching from, because you have spent too long for artha kama. You need artha, you need kama, you need dharma, you need also self-knowledge. Therefore, if you switch from artha, kama and dharma to self-knowledge, that makes it complete. When you take into account the fourth, the three look meaningful. If you don't take into account the fourth, the three look meaningless. Are you able to follow? I'll give you an example. Very good looking person, excellent nose, excellent ears, excellent hair, excellent height, ideal weight, and ideal complexion, excellent khandan, great. All is meaningful if he is alive. Supposing he is not alive, what will you do with his beautiful matchless nose and matchless earlobes and matchless height and what will you do? All the details of a person make sense if he is alive. It is exactly like that. The fourth, the moksha, that is figuring out one's existence, pursuing self-education, is like the life. When I am also aware of the need for self-knowledge, if I also take into account the need for self-knowledge, if I also register the fact that I am in need of self-knowledge also, then the other three look meaningful. They are all lively. Your wealth comes alive. Even your meeting your biological needs look meaningful. Even values look meaningful. Mental peace looks meaningful. A very, very comfortable, peaceful survival looks meaningful if it is all meant to discover the truth, one's own existence. Minus that fourth, the moksha, what do you do with all the artha kama? It's like a beautiful looking man minus life. You will remember this example? Artha, kama, and even dharma minus moksha, minus the program of self-education is like a good-looking person minus life. Minus life, what will you do? If a person is alive, then alone everything is useful. Thus, what is withdrawing here? It is not withdrawing from the senses. It is not withdrawing from the sense object. It is not withdrawing from the this or that. It is not withdrawing. It is switching from the wrong to the right. And what is the wrong? I have money, that's enough. I don't need anything is a wrong thinking. I need to understand myself is the right thinking. I have money, I don't need even people, I have got money, I can buy people, etc. This is all wrong thinking. And therefore I need dharma also, I need moksha. This is over. I have covered this verse. Switching from the wrong to the right. There is nothing else to be done. That is what is possible, that is what we need. Next verse. Vishaya vinivartante.
Vishaya vinivartante.
Vishaya vinivartante.
Vishaya vinivartante.
Niraharasya dehinah.
Niraharasya dehinah.
Rasavarjam rasopyasya.
Rasavarjam rasopyasya.
Param drishtva nivartate.
Param drishtva nivartate.
Here, Bhagavan Krishna says, withdrawing from the world is the easiest thing. Nothing great about it. To leave an object is nothing great. To close your eyes to the form is very easy. Even to close your memory for some time to the object is easy. It's like, not to see the rasagulla. Is it difficult or easy? Supposing there are rasagullas, there are rasagullas. All those sweets, Diwali sweets lying on the table. And then, is it difficult to close your eyes to it? कुछ नहीं है. Or is it difficult even not to think about it? Is it difficult not to think about it? Nothing great about it. But is it not difficult not to have taste for it? Closing eyes to the object is easier, but closing taste for the objects is not easy. Taste is a different thing. Withdrawing from the taste is valuable. Withdrawing from the world is not what valuable. Therefore you have to live with the world, because withdrawing from the world is neither possible nor desirable. It's not possible anyway. How can you withdraw from the elements? How can you withdraw from the air? How can you withdraw from the fire, from the sunlight, from the forms, sounds, from the society? How can you withdraw? There is no physical withdrawal. Withdrawal means switching one's attention from the pursuit. This is what it means. Switching one's pursuit for happiness outside, you switch your attention to the pursuit. Instead of searching happiness outside, you try to recognize happiness that is already there within. This switching from the external to the subject, switching from the object to the subject is what is called withdrawal. Not just leaving the object, but leaving the taste for the object. Leaving the objects is neither possible nor required. Leave the taste. Leaving the taste. Therefore here Bhagavan says, Vishayaha Vinivartana. Now Bhagavan is going to, Shankaracharya says here, I will give you the examples. One is an ascetic. I am going to introduce this one. Ascetic in English means a yatihi. Did you hear the word? I have to repeat because to get your minds back to the class is very difficult. दिमाग भागते हैं, पता नहीं कहाँ भागते. What did I say? Ascetic. What is the word for ascetic? Yatihi. Why? Yati, not eti. Why? Yati. Yatihi. Yatihi means an ascetic. Ascetic means the one who lives a life of discipline. The one who is strict to himself. The one who is very strict to himself. The one who is strict to himself is called Yati. Therefore, he is very strict when it comes to taking food. He is very strict when it comes to really what to do, what not to do. With regard to every discipline, he is very strict. He doesn't budge. He is called an ascetic. He doesn't eat anything that will spoil his health or that will create craving in him. He tries to live a life free from cravings. He takes exactly what he requires for living. He drinks exactly what is required for living. That is why all the time he says this mantra. Pranaya swaha, apana swaha, vyana swaha, udana swaha, samana swaha. Means what? Hey Bhagavan, I am only eating just for living in good health. That's all. I am not eating to fulfill cravings. He is called a yatihi, means a person who values discipline and who is being strict to himself. Now, when a person lives a life of penance, when a person lives a life of discipline, when a person lives a life of solitude, naturally, slowly, he can overcome a lot of cravings. He can forget the objects. He can forget the objects. Even he can look as though he has lost the cravings. But really, even if a person lives away from the world, but it's very difficult to lose the taste for the objects. Distance can make you forget the object, all right, but the distance can't destroy the taste. Taste for the objects. Taste is not something, I want you to understand this point, taste is not another object. If taste is another object, I can just really, can forget it. Taste is my situation as an individual. To have taste for the objects, is my situation. I am going to ask you a question because it's not going to be easy to understand what I am saying. Love for happiness, is it not synonymous with the person? Is it possible for any person to be and yet not search for happiness? Is it possible? Did you hear? Is it possible to be alive and yet not look for happiness? Is it possible? No. That means the love for happiness, meaning the search for happiness, is not one of the details outside, it's a part of me. This is what I want to convey. The love for happiness is a part of oneself. Wherever one goes, he carries love for happiness. Now, when man has love for happiness, now he also has an age-old conclusion that my happiness has to come only from the world, nowhere else. He has an age-old conclusion that my happiness, I am in search of happiness, I want to make myself happy, and that happiness has to come to me from the world. Therefore, as long as that means this love for happiness is a part of me, Therefore, the love for the objects also is a part of me. Therefore, the taste for the objects is a part of me. Therefore, wherever I go, I carry the taste for the objects, though I leave the objects behind. That's right. You go to anywhere, you carry what belongs to you. You carry your love for happiness, you carry your love for happiness, and therefore you carry your love for objects, because the conclusion is happiness is nowhere to be found, it has to come from objects. It is only when I enjoy the form, eat well, drink well, enjoy this form, that form, enjoy wealth, enjoy comforts, therefore my happiness has to come from the world. Therefore, as long as I have love for happiness, I also have love for the object. That love for the objects is called taste. That taste is, in Sanskrit, is called a rasa. Rasa. Rasa means what? Taste for the objects. Krishna says, Vishayaha vinivartanti. Look at this verse. I want you to make little effort. Vishayaha means objects. Vishayaha means objects. Vinivartante means they can be left behind. They can part from you. They can leave you. Objects can leave you. When you leave the objects also, they don't travel with you. Living people don't travel with you. Dead objects are going to travel with you. Supposing, you go to Himalayas, nobody is going to travel with you. Is there anybody who is going to travel? My God, they are going to celebrate. Chalo acha ho gaye, chale gaye. Chutkara ho gaya. Then they will even change their address so that you will not be able to come back even. Therefore, when you leave the objects also leave you. They don't really stalk you. They don't haunt you. They don't stalk. They don't go after you. But wherever one goes, objects don't go, but he carries the taste for the objects. Why? Because he carries the love for happiness. He carries the love for fullness. He carries the love for satisfaction. He carries the love for fulfillment. And he also carries the superstition, the belief that satisfaction has to come from only the world. Therefore, even though he leaves the world, he carries the taste for the world. That is why Bhagavan says, look at the line, Vishayaha vinivartante, objects can leave you, niraharasya dehinaha. Niraharasya means a man who lives a life of penance, a man who lives a life of frugality. A man who lives a life of frugality, objects can leave. Dehinaha, an individual. An individual can keep away from the objects by living a life of austerity, by living a life of penance, by living a life of discipline, by living a life of what we call living a life of austerity, penance, discipline. Simple, non-consumerist kind of life. And then Krishna says, even though a man of penance and austerity can keep away from the objects, just because he is living a life of penance, doesn't mean he can beat the taste out. Rasa varjam. He always keeps the rasa. The taste for the objects can't be renounced. You can renounce the world, you can't renounce the taste for it. You can't wish it away. You can just in one reaction, you didn't like your parents, you can renounce them and their business and money and go to Himalaya. Your renunciation can be a result of one reaction. You can quit. Can you quit like that? Taste for the world? Can you quit the taste like that? House you can quit, money you can quit. Say everything, keep all your money to yourself, and I am off. In a huff, you go to Rishikesh, and then never come back. Possible. But then, really, is it possible to just, quit the taste? No. Overcoming taste can never be the result of a reaction. Overcoming the taste cannot be the result of a reaction or frustration. Sometimes you get frustrated, that doesn't mean you lose the taste for the world. One girl lets you down, that doesn't mean you lose the interest for all the girls. Hey, this is the baat hai. For a few days, he goes there, and then he grows beard. He becomes a Devdas and looks intellectual. Because when you grow beard, you look intellectual, and therefore there are girls waiting to fall in love with that intellectual looking joker. You understand? And therefore you can't beat the taste for the world just because you are frustrated with an object or because you have become an ascetic. It is not another object. It is a part of me. I can't renounce myself. The love for happiness is a part of me. The love for the objects is a part of me. I can't leave that. I have to correct it, not to throw it away. It is a thinking that needs correction. That is why Rasavarjam Rasopyasya, I am going to deal with it elaborately. Let us complete the verse. Rasopyasya, just one more minute. Even the taste for the objects. Param Drishtva, having understood the truth of oneself. Nivartate goes. Even the taste for the objects goes away in the vision of the actuality of oneself. Without seeing the truth of oneself, you can never be free from the taste for the world. It's almost like, we'll build upon it in the next class. Don't worry. I'll give you an example. Think about it. Without seeing the water, without seeing the sand, you cannot be free from the desire to drink the water that you see there. Mirage water. There is a mirage water, and it happens to be the sand, and unless I see the sand, if I see the sand, then there is no water to drink. There is no need. Or if you have attraction for some silver, it happens to be a shell, and then it looks like silver. When will the attraction for it be over? When I discover that there is no silver, there is only shell. My love for the world goes away only when I discover that I am not a biological, physiological individual. I am the ever-abiding conscious being, unnegatable observer am I. And that observer is never in need of any form. The illuminer is not in need of the illumined. The illuminer is not in need of any illumined. In this manner, in the vision of one's actuality, peaceful oneself. If the self is peaceful, then you look for peace. If the nature of the self is fullness, if the self is full, then can you look for something else? And therefore, self-knowledge beats the taste for the world out. And that taste is in the form of an error, and that has to be corrected through knowledge. It is not another object to renounce. I want you to pick up this. Taste for the world is not another object to renounce. It's a part of oneself. It's a part of my thinking. That I am in need of the world is a part of my thinking. That I am in need of objects to make myself happy is a part of my thinking. And that thinking requires correction, which is facilitated by the Shastra. This particular verse will just touch upon that and then go ahead. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada